What's up, guys? Clavette here. We're back. Week 2 of Clavette's Corner, breaking down Work It Out. And week 2 traditionally is low end day. So we're going to be talking about the bass line, we're going to be talking about the kick drum, and that's it. It's super simple, but it's super important to get those two elements right, to gel them together, to make space for both of them, or your record might fall flat. So it's an important day. So why waste any more time? Let's jump into Ableton and take a look. All right, welcome back. We're inside Ableton now. We're gonna go through the kick and the bass. So I'm gonna show you the kick, but this is not the kick that ended up in the song. This was kind of a placeholder that I didn't really like. So to me, that kick just lacks punch. It lacks definition. I didn't end up using it because of those very characteristics. All right, let's talk about the bass really quick. This one was a lot of fun to write. As you can see, here are the notes. It's got this cool little pattern, and I'll play you a quick preview of that. So similar to how I do my hats, where like every bar or so, or every small pattern has a little bit of a different feel, even if it's very minute and almost barely felt. Same thing happens here with the bass, where it's somewhat the same pattern, it's the same shape. You have this kind of downward movement, upward movement to downward movement again, but the real difference here is when we return on that second or that third beat, there's this little roll. And I think that really helps move the record along, because every time it feels a little different. The other thing that's happening here is it's gliding. So certain notes are right up to the next note, while others are gliding towards the next note. So if I were to take this off, you'll see it's not quite the same. As it glides, it has this kind of smooth transition. Now, let's kind of take a listen to the bass sound from Omnisphere. This is the sound of the bass, the warm, simple bass preset. If you use Omnisphere, go grab it. It's a great sounding bass. I wanted to cut out a little bit more of the low mids, just so it's really kind of nice and round. This EQ is mostly carving out energy so that the kick could fit in there. And then I added CLA 3A to control some of the movement. And then to really give some more emphasis into the lower mid-range, I added Ozone. All right, so we're now in the final project for Work It Out. This is the kick that I actually ended up using. Made of 2 layers, super round bottom end kick. It sounds like this. Pulling out some of that kind of lower mid, around 138. Giving it a little more punch and attack with the SPL Transient Designer, and then using R-Bass to bring up some I love using R-Bass on kicks, especially when I feel like it's lacking some low-end kind of sub. It's really, really nice. You can really pinpoint this in on the fundamental. I typically will do it by ear, kind of what's giving me what I need. And then just dialing it back to taste with this. Here's the top kick. Originally sounding like this. Using the multiband dynamics really just to grab everything above 120. Then I'm dipping out a little more of that 120 to make room for the bottom kick. Using Decapitator. Let's give it a little more grit and a little more level. Using Erosion. Erosion kind of adding a little more dirt by adding in some white noise. And this is wide white noise, so it's kind of widening the top end of the kick. And then I use the SPL Transient Designer to tighten up the sound. Now, when I came in to mix the bass line, I bounced it to audio, and then I separated it into, it's the same sound, just separated on 2 different channels and processed a little differently. So you have the low end portion of it, and you have the mid range, or the low mid range, I would argue. So all that's really going on here on this low end, the low portion of the bass line, controlling the bass line with the CLA3A. This is an opto compressor. I really like optos for bass lines because it's really subtle. You're not going to really hear it. I'm doing really no more than 3 dB of gain reduction. Again, I really want that controlled. I don't need this popping out. I really want the kick being super dynamic in the main focus, and the bass line kind of supporting and adding groove and feeling. Then I've got the multiband dynamics as a filter again, and I'm doing everything below 120. Then on this section, I'm basically doing the opposite. So I'm using the A Bit Warmer Saturator preset to add in a little more warmth. And a little bit of level. Then I'm using an EQ with a 48 dB per octave filter to really cut out any of that low end. Then I'm adding overdrive. Super subtle. And then using the CLA3A again. So there are the 2 sounds together. On top of that sound, I've got a little bit more 160. And there are the 2 sounds. That's the bass. So that's the kick and the bass, guys. That's all I've got for you. I've shown you a little bit how I mixed it. I showed you that even if you pick a sound at the beginning of the process, it might not be the right sound. So never be too committed to something to change it later on like I did here. So I hope you guys learned some stuff. If you've got any questions or comments or anything you want to see further on Clavette's Corner, hit me in the comments section below. So thanks again for watching. Next week, we're going to go through the keys and the synths, and then we're going to go through the vocals and effects the week after that. So join me next week, and we'll catch you then. Peace.